This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. A manhunt's continuing in Rhode Island after a deadly mass shooting at Brown University left 2 students dead, 9 others injured. A person of interest had been detained but was released last night. In a statement on Sunday night, Brown officials said, quote, local police have advised they do not believe there's any immediate threat to Brown or the local community, unquote. The shooting occurred on Saturday shortly after 4 p.m. when a masked gunman opened fire inside a lecture hall filled with about 60 students. The campus was placed on lockdown as a manhunt began. 12 hours later, a suspect was detained near the Providence airport in a hotel. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 391 mass shootings this year, including at least 75 school shootings. This is Edward Wu, a junior at Brown.
I think absolutely this is a huge wake-up.
Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, and you can take this as truth or you can just brush it aside, but this is for the young people. This video is for Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and all the youth coming up in today's time. Accept this message for what it is, because this is just the actual truth. The country does not care about the youth. The country does not care about the children. The country does not care about the kids. They could give a flying F about you. And that's just a wholehearted truth. See, when I was a kid, I used to look up to the adults, right? I used to look up to the adults because it just seemed like they were always doing right. They were always doing the adult things. They were always making the proper choices. They were always doing what was best for the greater good, right? When I seen adult men, right? When I watched them go to work, when I seen them, just stride around, because of course they were bigger than me. And, I looked at them as, dang, that's what I'm going to grow into, right? Look at them. They're so responsible. Look at them dropping their kids off at school, right? Look at all the adults. They're so responsible, so accountable, and they're the reason why life is so good. Little did I know when I became an adult, really, when I became a teenager, I started to see things for what it really was. I start to see things, the illusions start to break down, right? The walls started to break down. My reality started to be destroyed because I started to see things for what they actually were, right? And the truth is, the adults, right? What we saw as adults, as children, our parents, our grandparents, right? They didn't have a flying F about what they doing. They didn't have a flying F how to figure this out, how to figure that out. Most of them still haven't figured anything out, right? And it's gotten so bad to the point where the ones who have figured it out, they're all in for themselves. Not for their grandparents, not for their children, not for their grandchildren, not for the greater good, not to push the younger generation forward, but no, it's all for themselves, right? And I'll give another example, right? My grandmother passed away a few years ago. My grandmother passed away. She had 2 properties. She had 2 properties that she owned. You would think, right, what we know today, right, with the knowledge we have today and how hard it is to get a piece of property, how expensive it is to get a piece of property, you would think that, okay, the older generation, they're going to push the younger generation forward, right? They're going to pass this property down. They're going to give them this property, right? No. That didn't happen. Right? Why? Because the children of the grandparents, they fucked up in life. Right? So instead of passing those properties down to the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, right? They chose to liquidate those properties for their own good. Right? And these are basically Gen Xers, right? They chose to liquidate that property into money for their own good. Why? Because they were in debt. Why? Because they wanted the money. Why? Because they don't have an abundance mindset. So all they can think about is the money instead of the longevity, right? Instead of the wealth creation vehicles that these two properties could have created for the younger generation. They weren't thinking about that. They were thinking about themselves. And I tell you right now, younger generation, Gen Z, right, and younger, for you guys who are listening, hey, if you're older and you're listening, hey, shots fired. If the shoe fits, hey, they don't care. The government does not care. Listen, you've been economically castrated. You've been economically forgot about. This economy is not even for you, right? The best many of you are gonna do, like right out of the gate, is maybe a Mickey D's job. But then you got Abuela and Papa and them, they're taking your jobs too. Right? Because they're coming out of retirement because they messed up with their money like always. Right? And now they're in Mickey D's, now they're in Kroger, now they're in Walmart, right? Competing with you for jobs, right? Because all you can get is an entry level job, even if you have a degree, right? The only thing that you can get is an entry level job, right, at Mickey D's, because there are no professional entry level jobs. All of the professional jobs, all of the jobs that pay good money, right? They want you to have 20 years of experience right out of the gate, which we know that none of us have. But they don't care, man. Look, wasn't there just another school shooting at Brown University, right? I believe two kids were unfortunately gunned down, passed away, and I believe 9 or 10 injured, right? That's just a regular day in America, right? That's just a regular day in America. Everybody's gonna hoot and holler and, oh, we need to pray for the victims. Prayer. We need to pray for the victims. Nothing is gonna change. Nothing at all. You've been economically disadvantaged, right? They don't care about you as a human being, clearly, right? The stock market and the wealth creation vehicles are all in favor of really boomers. Do you know who has all the wealth in this country? It's the boomers. They own most of the properties. The average purchasing age as of today of a property in the United States of America is, I believe, anywhere between 50 and 55 years old, right? And that's an upward trend from 10, 20, 30 years ago of the average age being 28, 29 years old, right? But then they're wondering why don't y'all just get out here and make babies? Make babies? Ninja, I make $15 an hour, Ninja. I make $10 an hour. Make a baby? I have an engineering degree and I can't find a substantial career. You want me to get out here and make a baby? Homes are 500,000 plus in every major city. But yeah, get out here and start a family. Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. That makes perfect sense, right? Right? While you could go to school, you could have a job, and you would have owned your home, you would have paid off your school and bought a car and sent your kids to school, right? I can't even buy a dang on Starbucks coffee, but you're telling me to create a family because, oh, I'm coming up on 30. F you. They don't care. So the point of this video, is, one, to enlighten you that don't think that the boomers who control this administration are going to save you, because they're not. Well, Trump works for a variety of different people, right? He doesn't work for the U.S. citizens at all, but the U.S. citizens he does work for, right, is just the boomers. Right, that's why he keeps tooting, well, the stock markets are up, the 401ks are up. That's it. Who else is benefiting from the stock market and the 401ks? It's the older generation. Nobody else is benefiting from that. Besides, if you're rich and you're just born into the right family and you just happen to come up on some money and your 401k and your stock portfolio is just looking fantastic, that's about it. Everybody else are looking like, okay, yeah, the stock market is up. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Right. And it really doesn't matter if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars into the stock market. I mean, it really does not matter. But the boomer administration does not work for you. They're not thinking about you. They don't have you in mind. The best that they can do is give you a 50-year mortgage. That's how much they care about you. That's how much they care about you. Yeah, give them ninjas 50-year mortgages. Yeah, shut them up. Right? They don't care. You think they care? No. 50-year mortgages. That's all y'all get. Right? No reskilling of America. Nah, we're not gonna reskill them. No, F that. No reskilling of America because the skills of America, especially amongst the American youth, are outdated in comparison to other superpowers. Right? They're not gonna free you up financially. Nobody wants to talk about this. The rhinos and the right keeps talking about, well, if you took a student loan out, you should be able to pay for it. Man, that's a whole listen, that's just such a blanket and unfair statement, right? Because much of our generation were programmed to go into the university public indoctrination camps. We were programmed to go there from middle school all the way to high school, to the counselors, to our school administration. Yeah, go to college, right? Just go. Yep, get you a degree and you'll be able to get you a good job. By the time, listen, I believe after '08, really, after '08, degrees really became useless. Became useless. Honestly, once we came into the millennia, 2000, that's when we seen the fall of degrees. I graduated high school in 2014. Degrees outside of STEM at that point in time, because now we're seeing the fall of STEM. But degrees in that time period outside of STEM were useless. They were absolutely useless. So they pushed us to get student loans that we didn't understand. We didn't have any kind of financial education, right? Our parents did not have any kind of financial education as well on how student loans work, but they kept pushing it and kept pushing it and kept pushing it. But now that this generation is now mid 20s, right? Half of Gen Z have already graduated college, right? And moved on, maybe have a kid or two. Now they're telling us now, well, y'all got to pay those back. We know that we push y'all towards this, right? We know that we gave, Israel $1 billion+. We know that we've been funding the war in Ukraine, right? We know that we bailed Argentina out with a few more $1 billion. We know that we've been doing all of this stuff and sending money all across the Atlantic and wherever else. But no, you got to pay your student loan back. Okay, yeah, all right. See, I'm all for responsibility. I'm all for it, right? But to literally tell us that we have to pay our student loans back when literally the youth cannot get a leg up. They cannot get a leg up in this country because they can't find proper jobs and they have degrees, even STEM degrees at this point. They have degrees with student loans that they have to pay back. Meanwhile, we're sending billions of dollars that could have been used to bail out the American people to jumpstart the economy. But this just seems, I guess this is just so far-fetched for people to understand. Boomers are completely outdated. The older generation is completely outdated. They keep on talking about some pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Meanwhile, y'all keep taking the boots every time we try to tie them bitches up. They don't care, man. So I tell you this, you have to create your own system. You have to create your own system. The current system is outdated. It does not work anymore, right? As you can see, everything is falling apart. The whole system is collapsing. And while the system is collapsing, right, the elites, the wealthy, They're creating their own systems right now. They're moving money here and there, right? They're trying to see the new ways to accumulate and steal money, essentially. So I implore you to start making your own systems. Right, we're moving into a digital age. We're moving into a age where everything is speeding up. Is at the speed of light now. Everything is transforming before our very eyes. Every single distraction you see on the news, that means something bigger is going on behind closed door. More money is being created. More money is being transferred. So you're going to have to figure out, how do I operate my own system within the system? How do I come up with my own system? How do I create my own system in a system that is breaking down? That's what you're going to have to figure out, because it's every man's for themselves. It's every generation for themselves at this point. Right? You don't have all the answers, Sway. You don't have all the answers. So you're going to have to get down in the mud, right? On your own accord. Listen, you have YouTube, you have countless amounts of information and knowledge and wisdom available to you. This is the best time to be alive, because there's so much information, there's so much knowledge out there. Listen, you can only lose if you choose to lose. Right? And if you want somebody to hold your hand, if you want somebody to lead you to the water, hey, go ahead and hit that link in the description. Join the Escape Blueprint, and I'll get you to where you need to be. Right? I'll help you live the PFP life: purpose, freedom, and power. This is the after pill, and this is the after. Right? Look around. Homelessness is increasing. Jobs are losing its value. Degrees have lost their value. People are getting laid off. Jobs are being erased. What's next? I'll tell you what's next. And this is the after pill. Hit that link in the description. Sign up for the Patreon. Support the channel. Become a YouTube member. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. I built a life. I built a family. I worked my hands raw to get here. And I'm not done. This is the Escape Blueprint, PFP Life, a way out of the grind and into control. You'll learn how I stack cash, build systems, and reclaim time so you can live on your own terms. You will watch me maneuver and grind towards the life that I achieve for myself, and you can also do the same. Join the circle, join the Patreon, learn the steps, and protect your freedom. The Escape Blueprint, PFP Life.